traditional way, use the current rules, the campaign spending rules, if they chose to. But if they wanted to use this public funding mechanism, it would work like this. A House candidate would have to collect 200 signatures from registered voters in their district. Plus, they would have to obtain 15 $100 contributions from registered voters in their district. That would qualify them to take the public funding, and the public funding would be, for a House candidate, would be $34,800, and that would be it. That's all they would get. The original proposal allowed you to do more fundraising after you got the initial amount, but this draft just says that's it. You get $34,800 to run a House race. On the Senate side, basically everything doubles. You'd have to get 400 signatures from registered voters in your district, plus you'd have to get 30 contributions of $100, and the amount that you would receive as a Senate candidate would be $68,000 even. And they would not be able to raise any more money. Now, the reason I'm interested in this bill is because, as many people are aware, as an elected official, we spend a lot of time raising money and not as much time meeting our constituents and doing what you would normally consider campaign work. So I think there's an advantage there. I also believe that when you receive money from private contributors, there are more politics involved. You have to pay. It's more difficult to ignore the people who contribute to you than it is those who don't, and they end up becoming a separate constituency. So you have your own constituency in your district, and then you have your contributor constituency. They overlap to a certain extent, but you have to pay attention to all of them. I'm not so naive as to believe that this bill will take money out of politics. It's my opinion that it's impossible to take money out of politics. There will be different ways that money flow into campaigns. Under a proposal like this, it would be, instead of giving contributions to campaigns, outside groups would spend money independently, and the money would still come in. So there are definitely trade-offs to going this way, but I would like to move the bill forward and give my colleagues and I more opportunity to discuss the possibility of limiting the role of money as much as possible for House and Senate races. So with that, I will open it up to questions, comments, concerns. Representative Wooley.
I'll just make a comment, and thank you for all your work on this bill. You know, the first time I ran, I did go through the public funding mechanism, and it was a big challenge, and I have yet to do it again. But I am hopeful that with measures like this, maybe we can do a better job getting money out of politics. Mahalo.
Thank you. Representative Belatti.
I'd just like to compliment the chair, and also, I know that there's models out there in other jurisdictions that you did remove the equalizing funding portion. I think that's very important, because then that'll ensure that we have a body, money there to fund this kind of program. So I think that the compromises made in this bill really reflects a step forward and an improvement on the current process. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Representative Har.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, thank you so much for working on the House Draft 1. I think that you did a very good job. You and your staff are to be commended for trying to put out something balanced. That being said, the fact of the matter is that you're using general funds. And I think that some of the taxpayers out there may take great umbrage to a bill such as this, given the fact that certain candidates may not support their views, and yet their taxpayer dollars are going towards the financing of that particular candidate. But that being said, I will support the chair's recommendations, but just want to note those concerns. Thank you, Chair.
No, and in response to that, I think that is probably the strongest, at least the strongest political argument against a bill like this. It all comes down to who, as a voter, who do you want your elected officials to, who do they want them to pay attention to? Do they want them to pay attention to taxpayers who are funding the campaign, or do they want them to pay attention to private donors? And that, like I say, there's no way to get money out of it completely, but that is the trade-off. I think you accurately identify that.
Chair, can I respond?
Yes, Representative Belatti.
I think I agree. I share that same concern with Representative Har. I would suggest that, a few years ago, what we did was we took the funding mechanism to this, and we took the fines that CSC collects that typically would have gone into a program like this, that we maybe we look at that funding mechanism as a way so that there is that disconnect from the general fund. But I do also acknowledge what you say, that who do you want us to be accountable, to the taxpayers or to contributors? So very valid questions and concerns.
Thank you. And just hang on just a second.
Comment?
Oh, there it is. Okay. I should also mention there will be a couple of technical amendments that don't really impact the substance of the bill, but I will mention them just for completeness sake. We deleted references to candidates for state senate and representative from the existing partially funded programs. So for state House members and Senate members, that the one that Representative Wooley ran under a few years ago would go away for the House and the Senate, but not for other candidates. And basically the rest of it, we've reorganized some of the sections for clarity, but that's it. Okay, just want to be sure. Yeah, Representative Brower.
Yeah, Chair Rhoads, I'm just curious, how did you come up with those money figures? Because a lot of House candidates probably haven't spent $30,000 in an election, especially re-election.
Yeah. It's based on the average of the prior election, taking out the outliers, the bottom one and the top one. So that's essentially, it's the mean of what House race, what people...
Like an average of 51 districts taking out?
Right, taking out the two outliers.
The left and right sides.
Right.
Okay.
And there was another question in there. I'm sorry, was that the only question? Was another question?
No, I think that's sufficient for now.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, Chair. Regarding Section 1 of the bill pertaining exempting the office of the governor and lieutenant governor, there was a question as to the constitutionality of that. Did we ever get a response from the Attorney General's office?
We did check on it. Yeah, we did check on it, and basically what they said was that because the Constitution says, as provided by statute, that we had the flexibility to apply it to only certain races.
Okay. Again, I definitely think that the intent of this measure is laudable. I do think, though, I have some concerns about the offices of the governor and lieutenant governor being exempted out. But that being said, I will support the chair's recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Oh, here we go. Yeah. But anyway, we can talk about it later. Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, let's go ahead and take the vote.
Okay, voting on House Bill 1481. Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Representative Belatti?
Aye.
Representative Brower? Representative Cabanilla?
Reservations.
Representative Carroll?
Aye.
Representative Ito? Excused. Representative Kawakami? Excused. Representative Lee?
Aye.
Representative Tsuji?
Aye.
Representative Wooley?
Aye.
Representative McDermott?
Reservation.
Representative Thielen? Excused. Chair, the recommendation is adopted.
Okay, thank you very much, members. Moving on to HB 632 relating to open data. This requires executive branch.